Hey, and welcome. Okay, my booster battery. I'm just waiting to see if my booster batteries, I'm going to, just giving it a little bit of a charge up. Sometimes it takes a couple hours, that trickle. But I'm going to charge up this thing a little bit more. Topic of today, the 5 things, at no random particular order, that I don't like about sport bikes. Number 1, the insurance. That's probably number 1. It's just insanely expensive, especially up here in Quebec. It's ridiculously expensive. We have to pay for the plate, which is no-fault insurance. So even though last year my driving record was perfect, they boosted the insurance to $200 this year for every bike because they use it as a tax to run the hospitals and stuff. It's not because more people are getting into accidents. It's a tax, right? And then on top of that, you have to have your regular insurance company liability, which is about another 130 some odd bucks. But that's number 1. Number 2 would be they're kind of pricey on fuel. This bike's not too bad. It gets about 34 miles to the gallon, so it gets about the performance of your average car probably, which is not bad. But if you're buying it for economy reasons. Even though you have like supercar performance for under $4,000, at 34 miles to the gallon, that's not bad at all. But it's definitely not like some of my other commuter bikes that were like 75 miles to the gallon and 60 miles to the gallon, 55 miles to the gallon, 45 miles to the gallon. So that's one big thing. The third one is well, you get a little cramped on them. This bike's not too bad. It's about as close to sport touring as you can get without calling it a sport touring bike. So you are pretty upright on this little bike. You have, these 1-inch rides. If they were clip-ons, it'd be a little more cramped. But the bar to seat is not too bad. Like I know on some bikes, like I remember on the ZX7 I sat on. It was like the bars were over here. It was a real torture rack to sit on that thing. So when you want to go on long trips, I find about every hour I have to get it. 45 minutes, I'm good. Hour mark, the first hour, I got to get off it after about an hour. And I'm a little stiff. The second hour, if I'm riding like a 2-hour day or a tank full, whatever, is about 2-3 hours of riding. The second hour, I got to stop like every 45 minutes. It's like I'm starting to kick out the leg, whatever. My wrists have yet to hurt on this bike. My back is yet to hurt on this bike, but my knees do get a little bit cramped. The other thing that I don't like about sport bikes is, I guess you'd say, the low-speed handling is a little bit, this bike's not too bad. I've been on other 4-bangers that were really bad, but it feels like you're doing the Heimlich maneuver at low speed, so it's like, with a funky idle once you get below 3,000 RPMs. This bike's not too bad, but it can be a little bit chunky in traffic. The last thing is... was that number 4? Yeah, I think that was number 4. So this should be number 5. If not, if I can't count today, whatever. The last thing I'd say that I don't like about sport bikes is the same thing you love about them is the same thing you hate about them. Is you got this nice, beautiful fairing, but it traps in a lot of heat. Now this bike, I got 2 vents, one on each side. And I got a fan in there, and I got the radiator. It doesn't kick the heat up in your face. This bike is actually pretty good that way. I know some bikes the seat gets hot, so this bike is not like that, but the engine does run pretty hot, regardless of the day, except for, the last past, couple of, or 2 weeks or so. Today I did ride number 13, and I had a bit of a funky thing with ride number 13, but you'll see the other videos on that. I won't go into it again. But when you're in stop-and-go traffic with this thing, it gets hot really fast, and it just... I kind of overreacted my first trip to town. I came to the light, and some people got a good laugh out of it in the other video. It's like, I'm at the light, and the bike's just starting to, it runs typically around 80, 82, 84 on an average day. That's running temperature. But as soon as you come off the highway and into the city, the heat just goes right up to like a 90, 100. And the fan kicks on, I think, at 103. And then they say shut her down at 109. At 109, you're going to cook the engine. But if you shut it down, the fan's going to run for about 5 minutes which then kind of drains your battery. So you're always paranoid that you're going to overheat the bike. I've yet to do it, but it's just that getting used to that running hot thing. But is what it is. This bike, for example, under 40 kilometers an hour, about 40 miles an hour, you have to be going about that fast before it'll actually start to cool with the air as well. I haven't had it overheat on me, but it just this bike does not like the traffic at all. Yeah, so I guess that's the 5 main things I don't like about the bikes, sport bikes. Other than that, I love it. Other than that, I love it. So anyway, you tell me what you guys think. What's the top things you hate about the sport bikes?